everybody. Welcome back to the Trick Podcast of Joy. It has been a minute, as the cool kids say. Here's my ghost of Bell right here. Talking today again about the Enneagram, the heart triad, especially the 2, the 3, and the 4. And so if you're not familiar with the Enneagram, I would encourage you to check out some of my other videos. I think there's a playlist in YouTube called the Enneagram. So I've been a coach specializing in the Enneagram for about 2 years now. I've been a student of it, and of course now a coach, a teacher, along with other personality systems or typologies. But I have found that the Enneagram is the most spiritual and the most complete typing system out there. So let's get into this. So if you are a 2, a 3, or a 4, then you know that you are in the heart triad. And the heart triad is the type of personality that is in their feelings. Their feelings are out in front. And so, of course, it's not that, and I'm in the heart triad, so it's not that we don't have logic or that we don't do anything. It's just that, and those are the other 2 triads, by the way. It's just that we prefer to feel. And so the feelings are obviously can be very good and also very bad. They can drive us, and they can become very exciting. And so learning to navigate your feelings, especially in times of stress, is, I think, what the Enneagram can really help us to accomplish. So if you are a 2, for example, the 2s will tend to express their feelings outwardly by especially being people who are helpful, who tend to want to help other people, who are servant-oriented. They focus on feeling affirmed and quieting down their insecure feelings, maybe pride, envy, through serving other people. And so that can be very, very positive, of course, to serve others. But what can happen is that sometimes you may not be aware of your own need to be served. So the 2 is often someone who can be either taken advantage of because they are so giving, or can become maybe even proud or maybe very arrogant in the fact that they are such servants. And so you have to watch out for that arrogance, for that pride that might sneak in your desire and in your genuine effort to serve other people. The 2s are probably the most compassionate types in the Enneagram, maybe the ones that naturally love, care, serve without needing a lot in return. But if they feel that you are taking advantage of them or unloved back, then they will lash out. Because remember, for all heart triads, they, more than the other 2 types or the other 2 triads, they need to feel loved. They need to feel admired or cared for or successful, or that they are special. So the 2 especially, I would say, is maybe the one that seems the most compassionate out of the 2, 3, and 4, because of their servant mindedness and their servant heart. The 3, let's skip to the 4. The 4, we'll leave the 3 for last. The 4 is someone who will turn their heart and their feelings inward. So they will often turn towards their inward journey, towards what's happening inside. And so they will often dwell on what they're feeling, on how they're doing. They may not share or tell you a lot of what they're feeling, but they are definitely processing a ton of emotions. And at times perhaps seeing how great other people have it and feeling like something is missing from them. And so envy can set in, thinking, well, why are they so lucky and I'm not? Why are they happy and I'm not? And so the 4 is often the most creative type in the Enneagram. Artistic types, creative types, they could be writers, actors, singers. They might not have any artistic talent, but they might express it through their clothing, through the way that they decorate their home or their car or maybe their children, by having everything around them be very unique and special. Because the way they cover up their need to be loved and to feel safe, to not feel ashamed. The heart triad, their biggest vice is shame. So the way they cover up that shame, the 4s tend to go inward, and by trying to, in some ways, be very much in touch with their feelings, and maybe even be somewhat inundated in their feelings, almost drowning in their feelings. And so the 4 has to just keep an eye on how deep or how low they go, so that they can stay more even keel. The 3, I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, and the heart triad is maybe the antithesis, or they're the ones that seem to be the least feeling oriented, and yet they're the ones that are the most feeling oriented in the heart triad, and probably on the whole Enneagram. And yet they tend to index their lives towards also, like the 2 externals, especially other people's opinions of them. When other people think highly of them, the 3s tend to feel loved. So even if they are successful internally or happy internally, that doesn't really touch them until other people recognize them as successful. And so there's this constant need for affirmation, almost this unending need to hear that you're loved, amazing, competent, the best. To mask, and that what that does is it masks that deep need to know that you're enough without success, without people telling you anything. And so for the 3, and really for all the types in the heart triad, what we need to do is to learn to get our affirmation from God. Because even from those that are closest to you, they're never going to be there all the time or tell you the perfect phrase or do the perfect thing. They're never going to serve you back the way you want. They're never going to appreciate your uniqueness the way you hope for. And so for those of us in the heart triad, we have to use our logic and our bodies to get to God. So spiritual disciplines can be very important for those of us in the heart triad, because if you don't feel loved by God, let's say, or by self or by life, then you need to then maybe read about the love that people have for you, or to read about the love that God has for you, so that by reading and using your logic, you can then feel. Maybe music is another way that can touch your heart, because it's input, and that can often help us in the heart triad, feel loved. Moving your body, of course, it will never feel like a feeling, but I know that when I go for a run, I'm often in my feelings. And so moving your body can be very helpful to the heart triad types, 2, 3, or 4, because in some ways it disconnects you from your feelings. It gives them a break, but it also releases a lot of the negative emotions that we as heart types carry. Overwhelm, jealousy, envy, deceit, lying, as I said, pride, all of these negative emotions, they pile up. And you might then begin to lash out, or to cross lines, or to overeat, or to indulge yourself, or to, as I said, isolate. And so moving your body is very helpful, even though it never feels, at least for me, like the first thing I want to do. But being in the heart triad, as I said, is a big challenge, because I feel that in the world, this is just my experience, those of us that are in the heart triads, we tend to be perhaps less acceptable or less affirmed, because we come across as emotional. And for many people, that's a bad thing, because they're probably in the heart triad. In the logic triad or in the body triad. So when you have 6 out of the 9 types not really understand emotions, you're going to have people that misinterpret you, or misjudge you, or misunderstand you when you are in your feelings. And so we tend to hide. Really, all of us do this, but just talking to the heart types, we tend to hide our emotions, or we overindulge in them. So either extreme is not very useful, can be dangerous. You can get too low and want to end your life, want to quit your job and just gain weight and eat ice cream and never take a shower. Or you might want to overdo it and love everyone, serve everyone, succeed at any expense, be so unique and different. And so what really us in the heart triad need is to move our bodies, to use our logic, to resist temptation, the Bible says, to resist getting too low, whether it's dark feelings, indulging in food and sex and alcohol and any of those things, from deceiving others, from exaggerating your accomplishments, from being dishonest, from over-serving, not really taking care of yourself. And so what helps is to be honest about feeling insecure and feeling ashamed, because the heart triads, we deal with deep levels of shame, meaning we're not enough, we don't know what we're doing, we messed up, we shouldn't have thought or felt or done that. And so then when the shame kicks in on top of the other stuff, then it can be really bad. So lower your anxious thoughts of shame by realizing that you're just human. You're not really such a bad person. Shame it tells you you're the only one that has these feelings or thoughts, these negative emotions, or anger, or you want to drink a whole bottle of whiskey, or you want to hit someone on the head, you say bad words, or you don't go to church one Sunday, whatever it is, and you feel such deep shame. What you have to do instead is to say, I'm only human, like the song says. Born to make mistakes. And to really let that filter through you, that you're just being human. You're not a worse human. You're not being the worst human ever. You're just actually being a normal human being. And you may make big mistakes, little mistakes, medium mistakes. You may even do some things that aren't even mistakes, but you think they are, because of that shame that comes from childhood and trauma and all the rest, all the usual suspects. So you have to quiet those feelings. There's a verse in the Bible that I love. It says to hem yourself in, asking God to hem me in. Kind of like, some pans when I was a little boy, or even last week I was hemming my son's pants because he was going to the prom and his pants were a little all over the place. That's what God recommends, is that we let him hem you in. So control your emotions. Self-control is a spiritual discipline for those of us in the heart triad. So if you're going to go say something that you shouldn't say, then just say nope. If you're going to overact, then don't do it. If you're going to stay at work longer than you should, or be with someone that isn't really the best person for you, or eat that thing that you know you really don't want to eat, then use self-control as a spiritual discipline through the power of God to hem you in, so that you can then not cross those lines and not feel even worse and have that shame kick in even more. Also, if there's something that makes you feel more envious or someone, then don't hang out with that person. Just take a break from them. Or if someone makes you feel very insecure, or they trigger kind of your need to be more successful than you really are, then just take a break from that person, or from that Instagram page, or that TikTok, or those videos, or the podcasts, or that TV show. If you, especially as a 4, if you're hanging out with people or places that make you feel like you're not good enough, that you're not special, or people maybe that even say that to you, oh, you're nothing special. There's nothing special about you. You're just another bozo on the bus. That's good to some degree, but you also don't want to be around that all the time. You want to be around people that truly value you for your inner traits, that you're patient, that you're honest, and not so much that you're beautiful and so different and there's no one that sings or plays or serves like you. You'd rather be around people that are more in tune with the inner you. Now, we will always need that external affirmation, especially if you're a 2 and a 3. 2 or a 3. If you're a 4, we will always need to express ourselves, like the song says, so express yourself. Just when you cross that line and you feel like you're crossing that line, you're in your feelings way too much, take that time off to move towards logic, towards your mind. Don't overextend yourself. Try to stay in your body, in your mind, in your logic, and then in time go back to your feelings, because after all, that's how God made us, and that's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful to be in our feelings. It's our feelings that write songs, that make poetry, that love deeply. So don't be ashamed of being a heart triad. I'm very proud and thankful that I am a heart triad, or I'm in the heart triad, that I am a heart type. And so, but you have to know your limits. And when you're under stress, you have to know, or you're exhausted, or you're overwhelmed by feelings. You have, as I used to call it, emotional constipation. You then have to move towards resting, towards peace, towards taking time off, not doing more, serving more, being so unique. It's okay to be normal. It's okay to not succeed, not do more. It's okay to not take on more projects. It's okay to let other people take the lead. It's okay to let others outserve you, or volunteer on your behalf, or in place of you. It's okay to lose your spot, because there might be even some health in that, to humble you, to keep us connected to God and dependent upon God. So all those things can really help those of us in the heart triad. And just stay calm during times of stress. If you're in your feelings, it'll pass. You know it will. It always does. And when it does, then be in your feelings again, and be thankful, and be glad for being uniquely you. I love all the heart triads. You're my fellow brothers and sisters. The 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. We sometimes don't like each other too much, I've noticed, because feelings don't like to be around more feelings. So hang out with people that are in the other triads. Hang out with logic types. Hang out with doers. They will activate those more, I guess, neglected parts of who you are. And so they can often inspire us to be more than just in our feelings, and vice versa. So I hope that helps, and I will see you next time. Adios. Leave me a comment below.